Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into a truly fascinating topic from the Bible, the three individuals who never experienced death. That's right, while most of us see death as an inevitable part of life, the Bible tells us about three extraordinary people who were taken directly into heaven without dying. Curious to know who they are? Let's find out. Enoch, the man who walked with God. Our first story is about Enoch. He lived long before the Great Flood, in an era gripped by widespread corruption and sin. The world was plunging into darkness, with the thoughts and actions of humanity consumed by evil. Yet, in the midst of this moral chaos, Enoch stood out as a shining example of righteousness. He was the seventh generation from Adam, descended through the line of Seth, and the father of Methuselah, the man known for having the longest lifespan in the Bible at 969 years. Enoch's family line connects directly to Noah, which is significant because Noah would play a crucial role in humanity's survival and redemption during the flood. Enoch was no ordinary man. His life was a clear break from the sinful patterns of those around him. While others drifted along with the tide of wickedness, Enoch chose a path of obedience and faithfulness. He walked closely with God, a choice that made him unique in his time. His commitment to living a just life amidst overwhelming corruption demonstrates his profound faith and unwavering devotion. Enoch's most remarkable trait was his deep, uninterrupted relationship with God. In Genesis 5 verse 24, it is written, "Enoch walked faithfully with God, then he was no more because God took him away." This phrase reflects a constant, intimate communion with the Creator. While others of his time turned away from God, Enoch chose to remain devoted and steadfast. Walking with God symbolizes living in harmony with His will, marked by constant communication, trust, and obedience. This speaks volumes about Enoch's character and his disciplined spiritual life. His relationship wasn't just about following rules, it was about building a meaningful, personal bond. He conversed with God daily, sought His guidance, and aligned his decisions with divine principles. This profound connection set Enoch apart, making his walk with God both unique and transformative. His faith was so extraordinary that God was exceptionally pleased with him, ultimately resulting in the miraculous event of Enoch being taken directly to heaven. Although the Genesis account of Enoch is brief, it has inspired a great deal of curiosity. In other ancient writings, such as the Book of Enoch, an ancient Jewish work, we get a more detailed glimpse into his life. It describes his visions, interactions with celestial beings, and journeys through the heavenly realms. While not part of the canonical Bible, the Book of Enoch has significantly influenced early Jewish and Christian traditions, presenting him as a figure of righteousness and a mediator between God and humanity. Enoch's story is remarkable because it highlights the possibility of leading a virtuous life even in a decadent society. His unwavering devotion serves as a powerful model for believers. This is echoed in Hebrews 11 verses 5 to 6, which states, "By faith Enoch was taken from this life, so that he did not experience death, for before he was taken, he was commended as one who pleased God. And without faith it is impossible to please God." Enoch's life demonstrates that an intimate relationship with God is not only achievable but is also deeply pleasing to Him. Furthermore, his ascension is often seen as an early symbol of the rapture, offering hope that believers will ultimately overcome death and enter God's kingdom. Elijah, the prophet of fire. Next, we turn to Elijah, one of the most formidable prophets in Israel's history. His life unfolded during a tumultuous era under the reign of King Ahab, who, heavily influenced by his wife Jezebel, plunged the nation deep into idolatry, particularly the worship of Baal. It was a dark chapter for Israel. Amidst this widespread faithlessness, Elijah stood firm as a dedicated servant of Yahweh, fearlessly proclaiming God's messages. His very name, meaning "Yahweh is my God," was a declaration of his mission. Elijah's prophetic ministry was marked by his powerful presence and singular determination to oppose the rampant idolatry. He first appears in 1 Kings 17 with no introduction, highlighting the sudden and urgent nature of his calling. His ministry was filled with extraordinary miracles. He proclaimed a drought over Israel as divine punishment, a drought that lasted 3.5 years. During this time, God miraculously provided for him, first by ravens at the Koroth ravine, and later through a widow in Zarephath, where he multiplied her food supply and even raised her son from the dead. A pivotal moment in his ministry was the dramatic showdown on Mount Carmel, recounted in 1 Kings 18. This was a divine challenge between the God of Israel and the idol Baal. Elijah challenged 450 prophets of Baal to call down fire from heaven to consume as sacrifice. Despite their frantic prayers and rituals, Baal remained silent. Then Elijah built his altar, drenched it with water, and called out to Yahweh. The Lord responded overwhelmingly, sending fire from heaven that consumed not only the sacrifice but also the altar and the surrounding water. This awe-inspiring event convinced the people of Yahweh's supremacy. Elijah's ascension to heaven is one of the most breathtaking events in the Bible. Described in 2 Kings 2, Elijah knew his departure was imminent. Accompanied by his disciple Elisha, he traveled from Gilgal to Bethel, then to Jericho, and finally to the Jordan River. At the Jordan, Elijah struck the water with his cloak, and the waters miraculously parted, allowing them to cross on dry ground. After they crossed, Elisha asked for a double portion of Elijah's spirit. As they were talking, a chariot of fire, drawn by horses of fire, suddenly appeared and separated them. Elijah was then taken up to heaven in a whirlwind. Witnessing this, Elisha cried out, "My father! My father! The chariots and horsemen of Israel." He then picked up Elijah's fallen cloak, symbolizing the transfer of prophetic authority and the beginning of his own powerful ministry. Elijah's dramatic departure was a powerful testament to God's approval and the culmination of his earthly mission. Melchizedek, the mysterious king-priest. Finally, we encounter an enigmatic biblical figure named Melchizedek. He appears in Genesis 14 after Abraham's victory over the kings who had captured his nephew, Lot. Melchizedek, the king of Salem, a name meaning peace, and a priest of God Most High, meets Abraham with bread and wine. He blesses him, saying, "Blessed be Abram by God Most High, creator of heaven and earth. And praise be to God Most High, who delivered your enemies into your hand." Abraham then gives Melchizedek a tenth of everything, a significant act acknowledging his spiritual authority. Melchizedek uniquely embodies the roles of both king and priest, a rarity in ancient contexts. His abrupt introduction and the complete absence of a family lineage make him a mysterious and singular character. The book of Hebrews 7 verse 3 describes him as, "Without father or mother, without genealogy, without beginning of days or end of life, resembling the Son of God, he remains a priest forever." This description has led many to interpret Melchizedek as a divine or heavenly representation of Christ, a Christophany, rather than a mere mortal. His dual role as a sovereign and a priest prefigures Jesus Christ, who is the King of Kings and the eternal High Priest. Psalm 110 verse 4 reinforces his importance with a divine oath. "The Lord has sworn and will not change his mind. You are a priest forever, in the order of Melchizedek." This passage, echoed in Hebrews, highlights the perpetual nature of Jesus' priesthood, which stands in contrast to the temporary Levitical priesthood. Scholars differ on Melchizedek's identity. Some see him as a historical king whose legacy highlights the concept of an eternal priesthood. Others believe he was a pre-incarnate appearance of Christ. Regardless of his precise identity, his narrative serves as a powerful symbol of Christ's perpetual priesthood and God's unchanging covenant with humanity. Lessons for our lives. The accounts of Enoch, Elijah, and Melchizedek offer profound teachings about faith, obedience, and God's eternal purposes. They challenge us to examine our own spiritual lives. Are we walking closely with God, like Enoch, maintaining a constant and faithful relationship? Are we as courageous in our faith as Elijah, standing firm for truth even in the face of adversity? Do we fully recognize the eternal priesthood of Jesus, prefigured by Melchizedek, accepting his constant intercession for us? These stories, while amazing, are not just about escaping death. They are about lifestyles that lead to such extraordinary deliverance. They show us that a life committed to God is characterized by faith, obedience, and righteousness. These narratives also tap into a shared human fascination with immortality, seen in myths across cultures, from the Greek Tithonus to the 8 immortals of Chinese mythology. They all point to a universal longing to transcend mortality and connect with the divine. So, let's remember Enoch, who walked so closely with God that he was taken alive into heaven. Elijah, who ascended in a whirlwind with a chariot of fire. And Melchizedek, an enigmatic figure who remains a king and priest forever. Their lives motivate us to deepen our faith and trust in God's divine plan. They show us that our spiritual journey can lead to extraordinary destinies. If you found this video inspiring, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel for more spiritual insights. Leave a comment below sharing your thoughts on these fascinating stories. Until our next video, keep seeking knowledge and growing in your faith journey. Thanks for watching, and may God bless you.